The Marin Wolf Ridge is really a culmination of the 30 years that we've spent developing bikes, and it really is the best that exists today. What with the Marin Wolf Ridge, we really didn't want to just make another bike just like everyone does. So we really struggled to look for a suspension system that was going to offer us performance that was leaps and bounds ahead of what we're seeing on the market today. So this is if you reverse back to about 5 years ago, the team is searching for this stuff. We talked to one of our technology providers, Nails, and they say to us, we've been working on a suspension system that's probably been in development or in thought for about 30 years. We've just got a working prototype of it and some patents in place. Let's come to you guys and show you this bike and see if we can do something magical. They bring us the prototype. They talk about their vision of the bike. It's very much in line with our vision of what we'd want to see the mountain bike morph into in the future. And then once we rode the prototype, we knew that this suspension system, the nailed react-to-play system, was the future of the heart and soul of this new mountain bike from Marin. So from that, we took all the data they had, we took all of our fit methodology behind biometric data and ensuring proper fit and analyzing kinematics for bike use, and came up with the Wolf Ridge, which redefines the way we think of a mountain bike in terms of travel and application. So no longer can you view a bike as a 120 bike or a 130 bike. It's simply a mountain bike that rides like a boss everywhere. It's the shit.
So could you tell us specifically what wheel size and travel and a little bit kind of about what this bike looks like?
Built around a 29-inch wheel with modern mountain bike geometry. So short change stays, relatively longer top tube, slacker head tube angles, lower bottom bracket, all those nice buzzwords that get thrown out there. But at the end of the day, it's a mountain bike. If you want to go as called wheel size, it's a 29er mountain bike. But other than that, it's a bike that any rider can get on and have the best mountain bike experience ever, period.
So what specifically is new? It's this rear suspension, and what's it called, and what does it do?
So this is, as you said, the suspension system is 100% new, never been seen before. It's a suspension system that is the brainchild of Daryl Voss and the Nailed team, and it uses the crosslink, which is the link parallel to the chain, in combination with the slider, which is the linear slide element that mounts from the front of the bottom bracket into the rear swing arm. Those two pieces are the heart and soul of the system. They work in conjunction to create a bike that will isolate pedaling forces from bump forces, and at the same time allowing for 100% efficiency of your pedal transfer into the rear wheel, all at the same time not affecting suspension travel and performance. And frankly, when you say it like that, it almost sounds too good to be true. You really have to ride the bike to understand what it brings to the table.
It does look a little bit unconventional.
It is unconventional indeed, with the elevated chain stays, the bottom bracket that is somewhat overhanging without a connected seat tube. There are a lot of design elements, visual elements of this frame that are going to separate it from the competition. And functionally, it's leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else in terms of ride quality.
Does Daryl Voss associated with other products that we might know?
Daryl Voss has played behind the scenes in the bicycle industry for a long, long time. So he has had his hands in many things that probably everyone has ridden. But this is the first time that you see a very specific technology coming out of him and his group.
Is this something you think other brands will be licensing in the future? Will we see competitors to Marin using the same suspension platform?
We might. At this point in time, we are one of two brands who will be using this suspension technology, but we have no agreement in place that, prevents them from using it, other manufacturers from using it. But it probably will be quite some time before we see other people come out with any suspension system like this, besides these two brands.
Due to how unique the suspension system is, does this design need to be made from carbon, and will we see it at a price point that is more affordable at some point in the future?
So when you look at the bike, you could tell that there's some things going on that would make designing it in aluminum much more difficult than making it out of carbon. So carbon was the first choice. Second piece of that is this is top level halo technology, and just like everything, you can expect it to trickle down at some point and become more affordable. But at this point in time, the decision was made to stick with that very high-end product to start with.
And at what point will it be available in stores?
We're looking to have this bad boy in stores about hopefully the end of June 2017.
And prices should start roughly at?
The first two models that we'll launch will be very premium, starting around above $6,000. And then eventually we will have a lower price model coming out when we can release that information.
Sort of a roundabout question. I noticed on your personal prototype you have a Di2 XT setup. Is there routing and or compatibility with that, or did you have to do something?
The bike was fully designed around the option to run Di2, that we actually have a battery holder that holds the battery from the forward cable mount area, and then it's got a little rubber piece that actually sits on the battery to prevent it from rattling in your frame. So to do that, you pull the fork, you can install the battery in the down tube, and then it keeps everything all tidy and neat and hidden. We have cable ports for both Di2 and standard setup. We don't offer the bike with any Di2 at this time, but we want to give people the options.
And all the routing is internal. It looks very tidy. Are you doing tubes inside the carbon, or is it free floating, or?
That's a very good question. And during the design process, we were talking with our manufacturers about that. And due to the way that we could have pulled this off, it was better to not, because there are some limitations that you get when creating internal tubes for cable routing, because you cannot compact the carbon as well in those areas. So we decided to make the stiffest, lightest, and strongest frame possible, then utilize foam on the cables to prevent rattling. We have an opening inside the front triangle on the front end that allows you to get foam and everything in there to run the cables very cleanly. So it's quite easy to run the cables internally, even without the tubes.
Very cool. So, threaded or non-threaded press fit?
Great question. And this is something that everyone gets very passionate about. This particular design, because of the way the frame is configured, we went with a PF92. And the reason for that over a BSA was we get a wider, bigger bottom bracket, allowing for better compaction of carbon around the bottom bracket area, resulting in a lighter and stronger frame.
All right, and in terms of dropper post, what dropper post length will sort of the medium and large frames come stock with, and what might be the max that I can run?
So the frame is designed around a 120 mil post for size small, a 150 for all others. So we did realize that a lot of older designs did not take into account proper leg length, total aspect ratio of a dropper post, and then total overlap ratio of a seat tube to ensure that a 120 could fit on a smaller rider. So it's pretty unheard of, one, that we have a small 29er that gets 160 mil travel with a 435 mil chainstay. It's even cooler that we have that with a 120 mil dropper that can fit down to a 5.4 rider.
Yeah, so are there any questions that I haven't asked that you are really passionate about this bike that you want to share, or does that pretty much sum everything up?
It, for the most part, sums everything up. I think the biggest thing about this bike is it can't be defined. It can't be pigeonholed. You can ride it literally anywhere except for an full-on XC race application or full-on downhill race application. It literally fills in the gap for every single bike in between. So anywhere from a XC trail category to an enduro category, you no longer need to make the decision about if you want to get 1 or 2 bikes or 3 bikes. Save the money and just go buy one.
Sounds like an impressive bike. Can't wait to get some ride time on it.
I can't wait either.
Thanks, Ed.
My pleasure.